Hello and welcome to the Bobby Moore Stand. I'm Gary, he's Chris, and this is the preview of the match at the weekend upcoming against Chelsea at the London Stadium. There's lots to talk about, but before we start, Chris, I've got something quite serious to discuss with you. You know, it's quite personal. When I put my last video up where I was explaining that West Ham have options, that maybe Paqeuta and Alvarez are not playing their best at the moment, and there are options. It wasn't to say drop them; it was to say we've got options. You disagreed with me in the comments, and frankly, Chris, that was unacceptable. I don't expect that from a co-host.
Do you know what? You're just going to have to suck it up, mate.
I'll tell you what, Chris, your attitude, your attitude needs some work. I'll tell you, if we're going to survive as a partnership on this channel, Chris, it's just not good enough.
Do you know what? At the end of the day, mate, I think it all comes down to opinions, right? I think some things I'll agree on, some things I won't, some things I'll be right on, some things I won't. It's as simple as that. But that's football. We're all entitled to opinions, and what? If we were all bang on every time, we wouldn't be here sitting talking about it. We'd be in the dugout actually managing West Ham. Let's put it that way.
As Brian Clough once said when he was asked, "What do you do, Brian, if a player disagrees with you?" He said, "We go away, we sit down, we have a little chat. I say, young man, I explain to him the situation, and then we both agree that I was right all along."
But you're not right, Gal. You're not right.
I was just putting it out there, right? You got to consider these things. They're viable options, maybe not good ones, but they're maybe not for this weekend anyway. You know what I mean?
It's good to get people thinking about it. That's the thing. It's good to get people thinking about it. And I certainly a lot of people don't agree with what I think, with regards to how we set up and what formation we're going to play or who we're going to be playing. But it's about my opinion, what I think, and that's it. And
some of the comments surprised me. Not only your one, but some of the comments. It was obvious they didn't watch the whole video because they said, things like, "I don't believe in stats," and "How can you judge a player just on stats?" Well, I didn't. I gave observations and then read out some stats, and they weren't exactly in-depth stats, were they? They were just like very high-level, bland stats. And again, I was only floating an idea. The whole video was about all these players on the pitch. Which one should we choose then? Because there are options, and clearly, I think I should have come on and gone. Souček's rubbish. Antonio's finished, and Lopetegui's just a Moyes. And I think I would have got a lot of likes and a lot of good feedback on that one.
Don't want to do that, mate. Don't want to do that. But look, you know what? There are options, and we can discuss that for this weekend because that's going to be an interesting one, isn't it? Chelsea, very interesting game. I think it's a very even game in terms of quality of players. It's all about the lineups for me. Ultimately, that's going to be the decider, isn't it? Really, who gets it right on the day? But I think it's a very, very equal squad. I really do.
And this is the lineup that you chose for Chelsea, right? I'm not taking any responsibility for this whatsoever. I've stopped. I don't do that anymore. Sanchez in goal, right? That's beyond Cucurella, who I can't stand, at left back. Colville, Fofana, Gusto. You think there might be a change with Gusto, right? Because he's coming back from injury.
Yeah. Well, I mean, firstly, that's what I think the lineup will be based on a few factors. Okay. Back four almost kind of basically, picks itself.
Yeah.
With regards to the right back slot, so they had, what's that guy's name? Disasi playing against Bournemouth the other week, and by all accounts, he had a complete disaster. I know a couple of Chelsea fans that do not rate him. He was given the runaround. I think he got subbed just after half time, and I think they might have played Fofana on the right-hand side for a spell as well. But Gusto's obviously the guy that would step in. But, Disasi deputised for him, I believe, in the last game. But obviously they missed Reece James. But I suspect that will be the back four. Cucurella, I think he's kind of more of an inverted fullback. Gusto, definitely a better option than Disasi. So I suspect that will be the back four.
Yeah, so what they were saying against Bournemouth is, and I think it was down that side, that they were exposed, they were open to someone running at them with the ball, and you're thinking, Kudus.
Oh, you'd love that. Yeah, I mean, you'd love that, and that's the funny thing about it, right? Because again, imagine you played Kudus on the left, everyone's up in arms about it, but if he was playing up against Disasi, then it could be he could have a field day because he was absolutely woeful. He was, but I suspect that he won't play. But then, having said that, of course, if Gusto's not ready, then maybe he will. But I mean, he got hooked, as I said, after about 60 minutes. So I just can't see how they're going to start him. So I'd imagine it will be Gusto.
Yeah. So they play 4-2-3-1, two in front, Caicedo and Fernandez.
Yeah.
With Palmer playing. He basically now he comes deep, he gets the ball, and he goes forward. He basically covers most of the pitch in an attacking context. Right, he was much more forward last year, but he is at the heart of everything. He's the playmaker. He's the Paqeuta now. Right, so he's pulling all of the strings and playing well as well. As you'd expect, because he's a quality player, isn't he?
Yeah, and he can play in multiple positions, right? So I mean, he can play easily on the right hand side, but I think if you look at Chelsea's lineups, I think for every game this season, Madueke's been a permanent fixture on the right hand side.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can see those two starting. I think on the left hand side is maybe that could change, and I put Sancho there, and he's not started, but I think this could be his first start, and there's a reason behind that, because I think for the last game they played Neto, if memory serves correct. They've also tried Mudryk out there, I think first game of the season. But Sancho, interestingly, he came on in the last game and he played really, really well. I think the one thing that he's got in his locker that perhaps Neto doesn't is that he has the ability to dribble and get past the fullback. And I think this is going to be a key for them, because how on earth is Neto going to come up against Aaron Wan-Bissaka at right back? So I think with regards to Sancho, maybe he would be their better option to play on that left-hand side against AWB, right? So this is just a hunch I've got. It wouldn't surprise me, based on how he performed, as I said in the last game when he came on. Hasn't started yet. He's shown some real good glimpses of the talent that he clearly has, but he hasn't really showed it in the Prem so far. Certainly with Man United. But I do think that he's going to get some game time. Whether he starts, whether he comes off the bench, I think they will definitely use him. And I think with regards to up front, I mean, Niclas Jackson, he's been there all season. He has been there all season. He kind of blows hot and cold. Started the season really well. I think last game from what I've heard and from the highlights that I saw, he didn't have a great game, Gal. He didn't have a great game. So that's what I think. That's how I think Chelsea are going to line up. But I also think that Christopher Nkunku, who did score the goal against Bournemouth, he's something special, in my opinion. Right? He hasn't necessarily showed this, because I think when he joined Chelsea beginning of last season, he was injured for predominantly most of the season. Came in again, some glimpses of talent, but he didn't obviously solidify his position in the team. But he's a really talented kid, and he did so well. And they paid a lot of money for this guy, but he's a very good player. And I have seen him play on countless occasions when he was in the Bundesliga. I do think that it wouldn't surprise me, right? So the slight change that I wouldn't be surprised with would be if Cole Palmer switched to the right-hand side, okay, and took Madueke's position. That wouldn't surprise me, because we know he can play that position. He's done it for England and he's done it for Chelsea last season, right?
He's a nightmare there,
He is. And then in addition to that, if they do that, that would mean that, okay, you're basically it's a toss-up between who do you drop between Cole Palmer or Madueke if you bring Christopher Nkunku into the equation. So Cole Palmer on the right-hand side, get rid of Madueke and put Christopher Nkunku just behind Niclas Jackson. That wouldn't surprise me either. So that's how I expect Chelsea to line up, but maybe those slight changes could happen as well.
Yeah, I think, if you take it on how the team's been deployed already, it will be this one. It will be this one in front of you. Apart from, obviously a question on Sancho and Gusto. Palmer, he worries me. He's a very, very good player. Niclas Jackson scored in that rout at Stamford Bridge, didn't he, as well, last time? I think he got the first goal, didn't he, if I remember rightly? I could be wrong.
I think he scored a couple of goals, mate.
So probably another one of them that's going to score against West Ham every time he plays us. But nonetheless, right, in recent years, we've had a relatively good time at home to Chelsea. It is a London derby. That changes the rules slightly. Away to Chelsea, different matter altogether. But home to Chelsea, we've had a fair amount of good fortune and some decent wins as well. Back to the Arthur Masuaku, spectacular shot in the last minute of the game several years ago. That was just so funny. It was so hilarious. So that they are going to be, they're obviously quite pacey. They are going to want to play through the middle and spread it wide, aren't they?
I mean, I think they're going to use are definitely going to use the width right there, because I think, again, if Madueke does play, he's been very good for them this season. He's probably been one of their top performers. So I suspect that he probably will start unless they do that the Nkunku change. So I'd expect that a lot of the ball would go, certainly to Madueke and potentially into Sancho on the left-hand side. Yeah, I would expect that to happen. But they do press forward in numbers, right? They really, really do. So, I mean, if you look at the way Chelsea have played this season, it wouldn't be abnormal to see, almost 6 players sometimes in the final thirds attacking.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. They go through, when they're right up the other end, it's often 3-1-6.
Yeah, wow. Okay,
so they try to outnumber. Get a territorial advantage over the defenders. Very pacey, very tricky. It does worry me, some of our defenders, especially with Emerson missing. But then again, well, I would have liked to see Emerson play against them because it's his old team, right? So surely he'll raise his game for that. Not that he did last time we played them much. But I do think, Madueke having Wan-Bissaka on him, and let's switch to West Ham now. By the way, how are they vulnerable? I mean, we've already mentioned that they don't like players running at them with the ball, as in the back four. So, if we can get Kudus and Bowen onto the ball in the half spaces rather than humping it up to them, giving them the ball to feet and giving them some space to run at the defence, that might work. And also, they're a bit vertically challenged, without being kind. They're quite a small team. So we are going to be, no doubt, trying to put loads of crosses in, which does put the fear of Jesus into me, because we don't really have anybody.
I know where you're going with this. I know where you're going.
I know. Well, I don't want to go there. But I feel I have to discuss it, right? But common sense tells me that if Paqeuta's fit, Paqeuta plays, right? That I think that will be the decision process in Lope's head, and rightfully so, I guess. Alvarez hopefully will improve in this game. The partnership between him and Rodriguez is very, very tidy, but it lacks creativity. But so it does need Paqeuta or someone in front of them.
100%.
And Antonio cannot put in a performance that he did last week. This is assuming Fullkrug is not available. If Fullkrug is available, I think there's an outside chance of him starting, because he's good in the air, and Chelsea are vulnerable in the air.
I think the other thing as well, when we talk about Chelsea's weaknesses, Gal. So I mean, definitely they don't like players running at them. That's been evidently clear in terms of the games they've played so far. But I think what we really do need to do in this game is high press, put them under pressure straight from the off. Right, it's a London derby, so you kind of expect that we should be doing that in a London derby of this type of feature. But I think, that's going to be crucial. So actually, funnily enough, right, so if Fullkrug is injured still or not quite ready, then who do you put up front? Danny Ings, Mikel Antonio, Jarrod Bowen. They're your 3 options realistically. Look, Antonio had an absolute stinker last game. Let's get it right. He had an absolute stinker. But do you know what? London derby, I think he ain't going to be happy with the press that he got, after that game last week against Fulham. So if he does start, I fully expect that he will have a much better game. Not that it's going to be particularly hard against the Chelsea defence. He's going to. And also, maybe we could use some of those, strengths that he has in terms of basically trying to press that defence, being physical with that back, with the centre-backs. Maybe that could work, right? But again, I would rather Fullkrug, but it's limited in options. And I don't think necessarily that Ings is the guy that we would start with, irrespective of his cameo appearance last week. He's still someone that I'd maybe bring off the bench if we need it. But maybe that is the only option up front.
I think you're right. I don't think there's any way that Ings starts. I think it is a straight choice between Antonio and Fullkrug. I think Antonio's a week later into his recovery from long haul flight, so he'll be a bit better than last week. But let's hope he's a lot better. I think one of the big problems we had against Fulham was, Thomas Suchek was playing really high. I don't know whether he was supposed to be or not, but he was playing really high. And what it created, if you take Paqeuta away, it created a situation where you had Alvarez and largely Rodriguez, carrying the ball up and trying to pass it to usually Souček, and we saw how that worked out. Firstly, Antonio wasn't retaining possession, but secondly, Souček was just bouncing off him like a wall, wasn't it? It was just giving the ball away every time. So I think that
no creativity there. That's the problem. You cannot play Rodriguez, Alvarez, and Souček in a midfield three. It's impossible, irrespective of whether you play Souček in a 10. You can't do that. There's just zero creativity there. Yeah. So, I mean, this is the thing, because with regards to your lineup that you got there, and obviously it's the first I've seen of it. Wan-Bissaka at left back, not the preferred choice. Obviously, Emerson clearly, and that's dependent on whether or not he's fit. From what I understand is that he may well be fit, right? So they're going to assess that in the next sort of 24 hours. But for me, if that is the case from an injury perspective, then I can't see that. I can't. Yeah, do you know? It wouldn't surprise me if that was the lineup. It wouldn't. Not.
He ain't trained all week
at all.
Emerson has not trained all week, nor has Fullkrug, right? So that's why I'm saying best case he'll be on the bench. So this is what I think he'll start with, Lopetegui, and you're kind of in agreement with it. So should we just adjust it now and put what we'd like to see?
Do you know? Can I tell you what I would like to see based on what I
go on.
What I think and hope. Okay. Yeah. So take out Soufa out right back and put one.
I'll do that as well. Yeah, I'll do that as well. Yeah.
We've got to get Emerson in at left back.
Well, so you're assuming he's fit, yeah?
Yeah. Well, with the hope.
Well, look, we both agreed that if Emerson's fit, that's the back four, right?
Yeah. Okay. I would have Rodriguez and Alvarez in there, 100%.
Yeah.
That goes without saying. Now, this is the interesting one, because if Fullkrug, if he's fit, I'm having him up front, okay? Which means you've got to take out Antonio.
Yeah. Oh, I took Paqeuta out.
And
my mistake.
No, you're right. So
sorry.
I would probably place Fullkrug up front. Do you know what, actually, for a sec, put Antonio back for Fullkrug, actually, because I just don't believe that he will make this. I really don't. I just don't think he's good. I don't think he's got, well, what do I know? But I just don't see him starting. So swap Fullkrug with Antonio for a second.
I've lost Antonio. I shouldn't have taken him off the pitch. I should have just dropped him to the side, because this thing's a bloody nightmare. I need to get rid of all the players. I need to get rid of all the players that have left. Where's Antonio? Put your hand up, Antonio. Come on. Tell me, Chris. Tell me when you see Antonio.
I'm looking. There he is.
Here he is. Right, okay.
Right, stick Mickey back up top again, right?
Right, let's put Fullkrug out there on the side, right?
So what I'm now going to do is make a slight change with this as well.
Go on.
I want to stick Paqeuta on the left-hand side.
Yeah.
Right. I'm going to put Kudus on the right.
Yeah.
I'm going to play Bowen just in behind Antonio.
See, I prefer that to the other way, right? I definitely do.
Well, this is what, again, Antonio is not my favourite option up front. But if I look at that team, it's got more balance to it.
Yeah.
You're getting Kudus in his best position where you're going to get more out of him.
Yeah.
I think I don't really want to see Kudus in the 10, actually, not for this game. I want him on that wing, right? I want him causing problems to Cucurella, because you know what? Physically, he's going to cause Cucurella some problems there. He will do. We know what he's like physically, Mohamed Kudus. So I want him on
Jared's a more natural 10 than Kudus, I think. He's got awareness. He knows everything that's going on around him. He's happy to receive the ball in any position. He brings players in all the time, always looking for a pass. Kudus doesn't look for other players, and he doesn't pass the damn ball. Right.
But also, so my thinking behind Bowen playing in behind Antonio is he can run off Antonio as well. So if Antonio can hold the ball up a lot.
Hold on. I don't hate Kudus. I really like him. Carry on.
Right. So Bowen, I think that wouldn't be a bad position for him, because you know what? I think he'll see a lot of the ball. I think he potentially could partner up pretty well with Antonio. Yeah. At times maybe they can switch a little bit. Antonio can drop a little bit deeper. Jared Bowen running in behind. Hopefully Antonio holding the ball up, playing Jared in. But Paqeuta on the left-hand side, again, I know that's not his best position. However, having said that, if Emerson plays, you know what those two are like down on that left-hand side. They've got a partnership and it works. It does work.
Yeah.
In addition to that, right, you could arguably say, well, where's Somerville? Because he's the naturally left-sided winger that you play. Okay. And it's true. He is. He's a left winger. However, when I look at that Chelsea back line, what do I want to see, from an attacking point of view from West Ham? I want to see a bit of grit. I want to see a bit of physicality. I don't think Somerville's got that in his locker from what I've seen at the moment. Well, yes, we know he's small. He hasn't. Nasty bastard sometimes, right? So I don't mind him.
Yeah, but the thing is, against Fulham, they were not big either, and he did really well against them. Right? They
Yeah.
weren't physically impressive. These guys are quite small as well, so I'm thinking that maybe Somerville would be a good pick for this.
He could be. I don't know.
I'd go for your.
Yeah.
I'd go for your team, no problem. Right now, let's put my fantasy team up. Right, my fantasy team.
You're gonna drop Alvarez, are you, Gal?
Of course I am, yeah. Well, I think the best possible team, if everybody is available. Again, I'm not going to give up on Todibo. I'm going to put him out there, right? I really want to see Todibo again.
What? I didn't even see you weren't there, mate. He would be in my team as well. I thought you had him.
No, too late. Sorry, mate. Sorry, no. You can't retrospectively change things.
No.
It's not acceptable, right? Fullkrug goes up front. You picked Maverick Parnell. Job
no,
done.
I didn't.
Right.
You had him there, mate. Not having it. You know what I think of Dinos. I don't want him in there. I really don't. I I didn't see that.
No, I really do. Right. I think this looks. The way that looked, that defense, when they all came on the pitch against Palace, wasn't it? Was it Palace? Looked fucking awesome, wasn't it? I mean, he came on against Villa as well, didn't he, Todibo? He's played come on sub a few times. I'm in two minds about all of this, right? I would definitely, I think that having Bowen playing behind Fullkrug, I think is the perfect scenario, right? You've basically got him as a number 10, ever available to receive the ball and find someone else or find a pass, whatever. You've got him to provide the legs for Fullkrug, bit of mobility. You've got Fullkrug in there, who is absolutely excellent in the air. He will also bring players in as well. He will play in Bowen. That'll be a two-way street there. I think that relationship could really flourish. It always feels like we're putting a player on the left who doesn't fit on the left. I think in this situation, if we could have that central core, I'd suffer Paqeuta on the left, right?
Well, he's
but ideally, I'm not saying drop Paqeuta, but I really do want, in games like this at home, I'd like to see Somerville given a chance, at least from the bench, right? So yeah, I think that's my, I've put Todibo in for your Mavropanos. I've put
leave it out front.
Yeah, but that looks, to me, it looks like a very, very strong, accomplished team. The worrying thing for me this weekend is that, like we keep saying, they are vulnerable in the air, and we start. I don't even want to say it, right? Don't even want to say it because people are going to say I want him to play, right? But there is a chance if we're going for height that he somehow picks Souček again, but surely he won't. Surely he won't. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. Because I was saying this last week. You remember I said when we did the preview last week that I had a feeling Souček was going to play, and he did.
Yeah.
I don't have that same strong feeling, the same psychic thoughts, but it does worry me because he started last week. It worries me, but then again, that was away from home, and I think home and away from home are two very different things in Lopetegui's mind.
I think surely, and I know we've been saying this every week now, Lopetegui must have an idea that Souček is not working in that role. Antonio is not on it right now. He needs to make those changes. And we've said it every week. It's almost getting impossible to try and predict what this lineup is going to be. It's so damn hard. But I'm hoping that we really, really do play our best players in their best positions. We've been saying it week in, week out. Obviously, Paqeuta, as I said, I know we're putting him on the left-hand side, but for a reason, right? That's to accommodate Kudus on the right and Bowen to still be playing, because otherwise it's a different way to play Bowen, This is
I just want to see the old Paqeuta start emerging. The dirty one, the one that got back and defended, the one that loved the tussle, the one that, picked the right pass, the one that could pass sideways as well as forwards, because you've got to do that to retain possession. Every good team does it. It's nothing to be ashamed of.
Paqeuta's not played on the left-hand side yet, has he, under Lopetegui? He's not done that.
No, and he plays better on the left-hand side with Emerson. So, but again, not for a while. So look, we're coming up to half an hour now. So let's cap this at half an hour. Let's do predictions. So, Chris, 3-1,
yeah? God, again, such a hard game to predict. It really is. I'm going to go for a 2-1 win West Ham because I'm never going to predict this to lose. I can't. It's a London derby.
Yeah.
So I think that we will come out the traps. I do believe that we will. So I'm going to go 2-1 West Ham. I think it's going to be a tight game. But I'm going for 2-1.
I'm going to go 1-1, a 1-1 draw, but a decent game. I think there's going to be plenty of interest.
Yeah,
plenty of things to pay attention to. But there's always that little slice of luck we might get against Chelsea.
Well, we shit house to win against them last season. I'll never forget that. God knows, against the run of play we did. I don't want us to shit house to win. I want us to go out there and I want us to take the game to them. I think that's what's really important for West Ham fans. When we turn up there on Saturday, Gal, we just want to see a West Ham attacking team going out there. And look, we know that we do play a much more higher back line anyway, and we have been doing that all season, which is good to see that. But I just want to see our forward players now in motion. I want to see us really taking the game to Chelsea and causing them problems. We talk about a lack of chance creation, which there's clearly been. I want to see chances being created. I want Paqeuta creating chances. I want Kudus, causing some damage down that right-hand side. We've got to start seeing this. So, yeah, I'm optimistic about it. But, maybe my optimism will change if the lineup's not anything close to what we want it to be. If Souček's starting, if Soufal's starting, if Antonio's starting and all that, then I'm not going to be happy. I won't be. But ultimately, you've got to be behind the boys and hope for a win regardless.
I've found so far this season that being overly optimistic in games doesn't work for me. So I think 1-1, I'm quite happy with that.
The pessimism, mate. Yeah, that's good.
No, bit of upfront pessimism. Obviously, come Saturday, I'll be expecting a win. But I'm gonna do my official prediction of 1-1. I ain't going near 3-1. I don't think we're scoring 3 against them. But you never know. You never know.
Never know if West Ham. That's the beauty of this.
Souček might come on and score a hat trick. You never know.
Could you imagine? Can you imagine if Antonio scores a couple? Souček. Can you imagine?
There'd be widespread fury in the fan base. Say, he's got to play next week now. Or you think? Yeah.
Only time will tell. Yeah.
Anyway, look. Thank you for watching. I think it's a 12:30 kickoff, isn't it? It's quite an early one.
It is. Yeah, it is.
Bloody hell. Maybe we do a review over the ground, eh? Should we try it again? That'd be a laugh.
Yeah, I can try it, mate. I can try it. I think I need to.
It can only go wrong, can't it? It can only go wrong. So.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, all. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Come on, you wines.